Hey, I'm Kev, Mister, and welcome to the final part of my look at the F1 2012 demo. A bit about the gameplay in the background. This is free run at the end of the young drivers test. I do it in the dry, I do it in the wet. In free run, you just drive around basically. You just get used to the handling, get used to the car, get used to the circuit, and just basically enjoy driving this car around on this demo. Now, in this video I'm going to talk about the demo, my impressions of it, and if it did succeed in building the excitement, being that teaser, before the release of the actual game. Now, there's a bit of a glitch coming up here as he got to the top of the hill. This is about the time where the pit limiter stops in third gear, he goes to regular engine sound, so I do hope they fix that for the game. Now, I've got a handy list here, so I'm going to go through them. Firstly, I'm going to talk about handling and the physics. Now, I really do like the handling and the physics of this game. In F1 2011, it took me quite a long time to get used to it, because you could be so aggressive with the car. You could just chuck it where you want, and most of the time it would stick, even if you had no assist. You could just chuck it around if you got the setup correctly. Now, on this, you have to be gentle. You have to be gentle on the brakes. Pretend there's an egg underneath your brake pedal, and you shouldn't break it. That's how you've got to brake in this game. And the throttle input, you've got to feed the throttle properly. It's not like in F1 2011 where it's like a turbo lag where it just goes off and on. As you can see here, I'm not pretending the egg's underneath my shoe. I've broken it as I've outbraked myself. As I was saying, it's like turbo lag in the F1 2011 throttle. You're just off and on. You could just push your foot to the floor. In this, you have to properly feed the throttle. You have to feed it, and probably have to be gentle on the brakes, on the throttle, and on the steering as well. It's not as harsh. I drive the controller on the Xbox in F1 2011. It was a bit unpredictable sometimes. You would steer it in and the car would just miss its marks. In this, it's more precise, it's more refined, it's more natural feel. It's in correlation with what's on the screen, so it's much better feel on the controller. I know there have been problems with, especially with PS3 players or with the wheel, but they've had to really refine the settings and get it right. But on the controller, I can only talk about playing it with the controller. It's much better, it's much natural, it's probably as good as you're probably going to get with the controller. Now, secondly, I'm going to talk about the graphics. As you can see, just look at the screen. It's much nicer, isn't it? I'm not going to say it's much better than F1 2011, the graphics, but just looks much nicer. There's much more of a vibrancy. There's colours, there's a nice palette going on. It's not like, especially not like F1 2010 where it just had Scepter everywhere, and it looked like the apocalypse had just arrived. In this, it looks like it's a brand new day. We're going to be happy, it's joyful. Especially it helps it's in the desert, and that's Marina here, so you can really see the sun out there. And just look at the McLaren, it shines off the chrome. You can see the buildings running down the side of it, and in the mirrors you can really look back now. There, the cockpit view's been raised a bit. You can actually look out the mirrors. You can really look back and see the cars behind. There have a couple of problems with the cars just randomly appearing in my mirrors with the AI. So over there it's a bit gentler and a bit nicer in the actual game. So yeah, the graphics, they do look a bit nicer. And you can see my feet are moving there. That's a nice little touch there, where you can see my legs working the brake and working the throttle. Now, this is the Young Driver Test. It's one of the new features in the game. There's also had the Season Challenge mode. You can't really judge the Season Challenge mode in this demo as it's only one race, but it just looks like a nice little new mode for the game. And the Young Drivers Test, it's great for new players to get used to the game. It shows you everything: cars, DRS, steering, braking, how to battle, how to just drive fast. And this game, they really are throwing the kitchen sink at everything, aren't they? New games modes, taking advantage of champs mode to transition into the wet, get out of my way even. As I say, they really are throwing the kitchen sink at this game. And from what we've seen in the demo, looks like you might see it. They got the new looking menus, got the new look of the game as well. And this Young Drivers Test, I think, is really great feature to add in. Now there's new driving views as well as the cockpit view. You can see it's been raised a bit. You can actually see out of the mirrors, thank God. You can actually battle with cars, especially with someone like me who doesn't drive with the proximity arrows behind. So I rely on my minimap and my mirrors, so I can actually properly battle now. I find it. I switched to cockpit view in F1 2011. It's really hard to battle online, especially with daredevils coming left and right and out of everywhere on in races. So this is, it looks much improvement. They got that new offset T-cam driving view. I'm not the biggest fan of it as a driving view, but I do like it as a replay view. And in replays, they've really changed it up again. They wanted to go for a new TV feel, a more natural TV presentation feel, and I think they've succeeded. You got some nice camera shots. You got that off-center T-cam. It's a really nice shot. You got the shot from over the right-hand side shoulder, over the driver's head. That was a really early 90s feel view. That's a great shot, and it just really has the presentation feel of this game here. Now I'm going to talk about the AI, and the AI, they're much improved. They're not as stupid as they were in F1 2011 or 2010. You can actually battle with them. You may have seen that in my season challenge video where I was battling with Glock, for instance, and through a sky. You could go run side by side, and they knew what to do. They knew when to battle with, and you just to back off a bit. They do still run into the back of you occasionally, so be warned about that. But generally, they have improved the AI. They're not as harsh on the brakes into the first corner either. They're gentler slowing down through curves, I think, and bends, and through the high speed. You can, if you've got the car set up, you can just draft them a bit instead of really depending on outbraking them. As you can see here, no, the AI, they're even battling with each other as Rossi is holding everyone. I don't know what they've done to Rossi to made him really slow in the wet, so he's holding up Sam Bird here and Jules Bianchi in the Ferrari and Mercedes respectively. So that, the AI, they are much better. As I lunge down the inside, sorry about that, Rossi. She's trying to make her way on this fast lap, almost leads the back end. There you see, you really have to be gentle in these wet conditions. As I was talking about the presentation, the TV film, it's so much nicer. I like the integration of David Croft or Crofty into the introduction of race weekends there, or as the introduction of the young drivers test. It just adds to the TV feel, doesn't it? And that's what they're really trying to achieve with this. They've moved away from the feel in the paddock to this TV presentation type, and from the looks of this demo, it looks like kind of succeeded with that transition. It just looks nice. And finally, did this game achieve what I wanted? Did this demo make me more excited for the game? I got to say, yes it did. I really can't wait for the game now. It's only just over a week away now, and I really just want this next week to speed up as you go into the pit lane. So the demo did succeed as being that teaser, being that building of excitement before the actual game drops as we go down the pit lane. You're going to see more of this TV feel here as they push me into the garage. Look at that. Just go behind the back of the car. Nice side views. You also get that with pit stops. I haven't covered that, but you can see online loads of videos of pit stops where they have this same TV like look feel of just staring at the crew doing their work, doing their business, and it just has the feel. And I've got to say, I really did like this demo, and I hope the game is as good, or even better of course, than this demo, and it just looks so nice in my opinion. I'll be back later on this week, maybe Friday, so till then, cheerio.